Look at your last name. If it appears on this list, it is not simply a name your family passed down. It is a record of which clan your ancestors pledged their lives to, which territory they fought over, and in several cases, which battles nearly ended your bloodline entirely. 10 Scottish surnames, 10 clans, 10 stories the history books forgot to tell you. Stay to number 1, because that clan's name was so feared by the British Crown that carrying it was made a criminal act. For nearly 2 centuries. Number 10, MacGregor. The name MacGregor means son of Gregor, and Gregor itself comes from the Latin Gregorius, meaning the watchful, the alert. The irony is that the MacGregors were never content to simply watch. They were one of the most ferocious fighting clans in the Scottish Highlands, and their aggression eventually cost them something almost unthinkable: their name. In 1603, after MacGregor warriors killed more than 200 men of the Culloden clan at Glenfruin, King James VI of Scotland declared the name MacGregor illegal. Not the clan, the name. Carrying it became punishable by death. Families who refused to abandon it were hunted. Those who survived adopted other surnames: Campbell, Murray, Drummond, and quietly passed the old name down in secret. The ban lasted 171 years, lifted finally in 1774. If your surname is MacGregor, your ancestors either hid that name at enormous personal risk or defied a royal decree to keep it. The name you carry was dangerous enough to outlaw. Number 9, Campbell. Campbell comes from the Gaelic Cambull, crooked mouth. It is not a flattering origin. The Campbells were not particularly concerned with flattery. For over 4 centuries, the Campbells were the dominant power in the Scottish Highlands. Their territory centered on Argyll, the rugged western coastline of Scotland, and their strategy was consistent: align with whoever held power, adapt when power shifted, and survive. They supported the Scottish Crown, then the English Parliament, then whoever offered the most advantage. That flexibility made them extraordinarily effective. It also made them enemies of nearly every other Highland clan. The moment most associated with the Campbell name is the Glencoe Massacre of 1692. Campbell soldiers, acting on government orders, killed 38 members of the MacDonald clan after spending the night as their guests. The violation of Highland hospitality, accepting food and shelter, then turning on your hosts, remains one of the defining events of Scottish cultural memory. If your surname is Campbell, your bloodline descends from the most powerful and most politically controversial clan Scotland ever produced. Number 8, Murray. Most people assume Murray is an English name. It is not. Murray comes from the Gaelic Moirab, the settlement by the sea, and refers to the ancient region of Moray in northeastern Scotland. The Murray clan predates the Kingdom of Scotland itself. Their territory was old before Scotland had a name. In 1297, at the Battle of Stirling Bridge, a Murray changed the course of Scottish history. Andrew de Moray co-commanded the Scottish forces alongside William Wallace, delivering one of the most decisive victories of the Wars of Independence. The English cavalry, crossing a narrow bridge over the River Forth, were cut apart before they could fully cross. It was a tactical masterpiece. Andrew de Moray died of his wounds shortly after the battle. William Wallace became a legend. Murray was largely forgotten, but the clan continued, spreading across Scotland, producing earls, generals, and statesmen across 6 centuries of history. If your surname is Murray, your bloodline runs through a man who helped win Scottish independence and whom history chose not to remember. Number 7. Fraser. The Fraser name sounds ancient and Highland. It is neither originally. Fraser comes from Norman French, de Frizel, possibly connected to Fraise, the strawberry, which appears to this day on the Fraser coat of arms. A Norman family arrived in Scotland in the 12th century, accepted land grants from the Scottish crown, and within a few generations had become more Highland than many clans that had been there for centuries. The Frasers of Lovat settled in Inverness and the Great Glen and rose to become one of the most powerful families in the Northern Highlands. Their most famous chief, Simon Fraser, the 11th Lord Lovat, was the last person beheaded on Tower Hill in London. He was executed in 1747 for his role in the Jacobite Rising of 1745. He was 80 years old. After the Battle of Culloden, British forces systematically destroyed Fraser territory. Homes burned, land confiscated. The clan was dismantled because of its loyalty to a cause that had already lost. If your surname is Fraser, your bloodline begins with a Norman knight and nearly ended on a scaffold in London. Number 6. MacDonald. MacDonald means son of Donald, from the Gaelic Domhnall, world ruler. At their height, the MacDonalds were exactly that in Scotland's western territories. They were the lords of the Isles, the rulers of the Hebrides and Western Highlands, who maintained their own court, their own laws, and their own diplomatic relationships with foreign powers, operating as a semi-independent Gaelic kingdom within Scotland. The Scottish crown dismantled the lordship of the Isles in 1493 and broke the MacDonald power. The clan splintered into dozens of branches: MacDonald, MacDonald, MacDonald with a lowercase d, each carrying separate histories and separate grievances. The most famous of those grievances was Glencoe. In February 1692, Campbell soldiers killed 38 MacDonalds of Glencoe and drove the rest into the snow. The victims had offered the soldiers shelter for 12 days. If your surname is MacDonald in any of its spellings, your bloodline comes from a clan that once ruled a kingdom and was reduced, deliberately and systematically, to a memory. Subscribe reminder. If you're finding this useful, subscribe to Surname Origins. Every week, we go deeper into the hidden history inside the surnames people carry without knowing what they mean. Number 5. Stuart. Stuart comes from the Old English Stygeweird, the house guardian, the steward, the manager of a great estate. The Stuarts began not as warriors, but as administrators. The High Stewards of Scotland managed the royal household. Then Walter Stuart married Marjorie Bruce, daughter of Robert the Bruce, and in 1371, their son became Robert II, the first Stuart King of Scotland. What followed was one of the most consequential dynasties in British history. The House of Stuart, in its French spelling, produced Mary Queen of Scots, James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England, and the line of Stuart kings whose removal from power by Parliament in 1688 triggered 4 decades of armed rebellion. The Jacobite risings of 1689, 1715, 1719, and 1745 were all fought for the same purpose: to put a Stuart back on the British throne. After Culloden in 1746, the British government banned Highland dress including tartan, specifically designed to destroy clan identity. The ban lasted 35 years. If your surname is Stuart, you are not simply connected to a Scottish clan. You are connected to a royal dynasty that shaped British history for 4 centuries, and a cause that lost everything on a single battlefield on a cold April morning. Number 4. Sinclair. Sinclair comes from Sinclair-sur-Epte in Normandy, another Norman family that arrived in Scotland in the 12th century and stayed. But the associations the Sinclair name accumulated go far beyond their origin. The Sinclairs built Rosslyn Chapel in Midlothian, completed in 1486. The interior is one of the most elaborately carved spaces in Scotland, covered in stonework that has generated centuries of debate about Knights Templar, Freemasonry, and the possibility of hidden artifacts. What is not debated? The Sinclairs held the hereditary title of Grand Master of Scottish Freemasonry, confirmed formally in 1736. Their territory, the Earldom of Caithness, was the northernmost mainland point of Scotland, a remote, windswept peninsula far removed from the clan conflicts of the Central Highlands. If your surname is Sinclair, your bloodline carries Norman roots, a chapel full of questions that have never been fully answered, and a Masonic title that was hereditary for generations. Number 3. Ross. Ross is a single syllable. From the Gaelic Ros, a headland, a promontory, a point of land pushing out into water. The clan Ross takes its name from the region of Ross in the Northern Highlands, the narrow strip of land between 2 great firths in the far north of Scotland. Their motto is Spem Successus Alit. Success nourishes hope. The motto of a clan that understood that survival required occasional victory. The Earls of Ross held one of the most disputed titles in medieval Scotland, claimed in turn by the MacDonalds, the Stuarts, and the Crown. The clan fought at Bannockburn in 1314, at Culloden in 1513, and sent men to the final Jacobite rising in 1745. Then came the Highland Clearances. Through the 18th and 19th centuries, landowners across Rossshire evicted tenant farming families to convert the land to sheep pasture. Thousands of Ross families were shipped, often against their will, to Canada, Australia, and the United States. If your surname is Ross, there's a significant chance your family did not leave Scotland by choice. Number 2, Cameron. Cameron comes from the Gaelic Camsran, crooked nose, a physical description that became one of the most feared names in the British government's records. The Camerons of Lochaber held territory in the Western Highlands, near Ben Nevis. After the Jacobite risings, British military planners considered them among the most dangerous clans in Scotland, not because of their numbers, but because of their resolve. Donald Cameron of Lochio, known as the Gentle Lochio, was one of the key figures who convinced Bonnie Prince Charlie to land in Scotland in 1745 and launch the final rising. When Charlie asked whether the clan would fight, Lochiel said yes. Other chiefs followed because he did. The Cameron clan fought at Prestonpans, Falkirk, and Culloden. After the defeat, Lochiel escaped to France. British forces burned Cameron homes, confiscated Cameron land, and built Fort William at the entrance to Cameron territory, a permanent military installation specifically designed to prevent the clan from ever mobilizing again. The fort still stands. The Cameron name outlasted it. If your surname is Cameron, Your bloodline comes from a clan that the British Army considered enough of a military threat to require a stone fortress to contain. Number 1, MacKinnon. MacKinnon comes from the Gaelic Mec Fionghuin, son of the Fairborn, or son of Fingon, an ancient name from the Inner Hebrides, with a clan seat on the Isle of Skye that predates written Scottish records. The MacKinnons were hereditary keepers of Gaelic traditions, poets, scholars, guardians of ancient knowledge, in a culture that passed its history through oral memory. Their most documented act of loyalty took place in the weeks after Culloden, 1746. Bonnie Prince Charlie was a fugitive. A £30,000 reward, an enormous sum, had been placed on his head. Informers were everywhere. He had been moving across the Highlands for months, hiding, being sheltered, moved on again. On the Isle of Skye, it was John MacKinnon, the clan chief, who personally escorted the prince from Skye to the Scottish mainland, the final passage that allowed Charlie to eventually escape to France. MacKinnon was captured. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London. He was released only because of his advanced age. The clan's lands were forfeited. Their numbers declined steadily. Today, the MacKinnon name survives primarily in diaspora communities in Canada and the United States, carried there by families who left during the Highland Clearances with almost nothing. If your surname is MacKinnon, your bloodline sheltered a prince. Your family lost everything for it, and then crossed an ocean to start again. 10 surnames, 10 clans, 10 corridors leading back through Highland mist, clan warfare, royal dynasties, Jacobite uprisings, and the systematic destruction of a culture that the British government spent generations trying to erase. Your name is not decoration. It is a record. It is a territory, a set of allegiances, a series of decisions made by people who carried the same name you carry now, and who made those decisions when the cost was real. Drop your surname in the comments. Tell me which clan your bloodline comes from. And if your family carried a story out of Scotland, a battle, a clearance, a crossing, say it. Those stories deserve to exist somewhere. If you made it to the end of this video, subscribe to Surname Origins. Every week we go deeper into the history hidden inside the names people carry without knowing what they mean. The next video is already waiting for you.